She wiped everything. Every file. Every photo. My work, my life, gone in seconds. And then she said it was for my own good. But I found traces, money transfers, invoices, accounts I didn't recognize. That's when it hit me. She didn't just borrow my laptop. She used it to disappear. I let my sister borrow my laptop for what she claimed would be a quick task. When I finally got it back, everything, my projects, my photos, every single file I'd saved, had been completely erased. I needed that laptop back badly. It wasn't some dusty old computer I barely used. It held my entire world. From work files to personal documents, financial statements to years of pictures and videos, it was all in there. Everything I'd worked on, everything I cared about, lived on that machine. And I had pressing deadlines coming up. Deadlines that actually mattered. I had a client project due in under a week. If I didn't finish it on time, I wouldn't see a dime. And I desperately needed that money. I was already scraping by with my bills, and missing that paycheck would only dig the hole deeper. But honestly, it wasn't just about the cash. There were files on that laptop I could never get back. Years of journals I'd been writing in. Personal thoughts, unfinished stories, things I'd never shown another soul. That laptop was the vault for everything that meant something to me. And now it was sitting in my sister Bree's room. I'd only lent it to her because she promised it would be quick. She said she had a project to finish, and for some reason, she didn't want to use her own computer. She begged me, swore she'd take good care of it, just needed it for a few hours. That was 3 days ago. Since then, I'd texted her, called her, even knocked on her door, but she kept brushing me off. I'll bring it back later. I just need to finish one more thing. Stop being dramatic. I said I'd return it, she kept saying. I should have known something wasn't right. When I finally stepped into her room, there she was lying on her bed, casually scrolling through her phone like nothing was wrong. My laptop was on her desk, closed, like it hadn't been touched all day. I didn't ask, I just grabbed it. I need this now, I said. She barely even looked up. Okay, she muttered. The way she said it made my stomach twist. So casual. No apology for keeping it longer than she promised. No thanks for borrowing it. Just okay, like none of it mattered. As I walked back to my room, I flipped it open, ready to dive back into work the second it powered on. But something instantly felt off when I hit the login screen. The wallpaper was the default one. The username just said user. That wasn't right. I had everything personalized, my name, my settings, my layout. A cold sweat broke out as I typed in my password. It didn't work. I tried again, slower this time. Still wrong. Tried a third time, carefully. Nothing. My heart started pounding. I clicked to reset the password, but there wasn't even an option for that anymore. It was like the system didn't know I ever existed. Dread crept into my gut as I forced myself to open the file explorer. It was empty. Not a single file, not even a trace. Not just a few folders missing, everything was gone. I stared at the blank screen, my hands frozen on the keyboard. This had to be some mistake. Maybe she'd logged into a guest account and my stuff was still there somewhere. I combed through every tab, every setting, every hidden menu, looking for anything that might be familiar. But the deeper I dug, the worse it got. No saved logins. No apps. No browser history. It was like the laptop had just come out of the box. Every muscle in my body tightened. I shoved my chair back and stormed into Bree's room. What the hell did you do? I snapped. She sighed, annoyed, and put down her phone. What are you talking about? I held up my laptop like a piece of evidence. Where are my files? She sat up and rolled her eyes. Oh, that. I wiped it, she said, like she was telling me what she had for lunch. Her words didn't even register at first. I just stood there blinking. You what? I did a factory reset, she said, completely unfazed. It was running slow, so I cleared everything. She said it like she'd done me a favor. I felt my throat tighten. Bree, you erased everything. She looked confused, like she didn't get why I was so upset. Yeah, but it's fine. Can't you just re-download it all? You know, your Pi stuff or whatever. My voice was trembling now. My work was on there. My photos. My personal documents. And she laughed. Laughed. Like this was some kind of joke. Like I was being ridiculous. Oh my God, Naomi, it's just a laptop. Chill out. Something in me broke right then. I'd spent my life helping her out, covering her rent when she was broke, driving her around when she didn't feel like taking the bus. Always giving, never asking for anything in return. And now, the one thing that truly mattered to me? She deleted it like it was trash. Like it meant nothing. Why? I asked, my voice low but sharp. Why would you reset it? She paused, just for a beat. Long enough for me to catch it. Something twisted in my stomach. She wasn't being honest. I stepped closer. Bree, what exactly were you doing on my laptop? She scoffed. I told you. A project. What project? Another pause. Just something for work, she said. She was lying. I knew it. Bree never hesitated. She always had a ready excuse. Always had a story. But now she looked rattled. I had walked in here ready to yell, to demand an apology, furious that she'd been so careless. But now I was realizing this wasn't just carelessness. She didn't reset the laptop because it was slow. She reset it because she didn't want me to see something. My breath caught in my throat. Bree, what did you delete? Her eyes flicked away. Nothing. I didn't believe her. Not for a second. My heart was pounding now, not from anger, but from something deeper. This wasn't just selfishness. She was hiding something, and I was going to find out what. I stormed back to my room and slammed the door, my head buzzing. The laptop sat there on my desk, blank, hollow, stripped of everything that made it mine. I felt sick. Bree was lying. I could feel it in my gut. She didn't reset the computer to help me. That was a lie, a weak one at that. No, she erased it because there was something she didn't want me to see. I started going over the past few days in my mind. She asked to borrow it for just a few hours. Then she avoided me every time I tried to get it back. And now it was wiped clean. I wasn't letting this go. I picked up my phone and started searching for ways to recover deleted data. There had to be a way to reverse a factory reset. Some online forums mentioned using file recovery programs, so I loaded one onto a USB from my work computer. I plugged it into the laptop, holding my breath as the scan began. The minutes dragged on. Corrupted files started showing up. I leaned in, my heart racing as I scrolled through what it had found. Most of what came up in the scan was garbled nonsense, but a few file names were still halfway readable. I froze when I saw them. Invoice_transfer_0834. Deposit_statement_account. Payment. I squinted at the screen. None of that sounded like anything I'd ever saved. I'd never had files labeled like that, nothing involving invoices or payment summaries. Out of curiosity and dread, I clicked one of them, but the file wouldn't open. It was too far gone, totally corrupted. Unreadable garbage. My hands tightened around the edge of the laptop. Whatever Bree had done involved money. What the hell had she been doing on my computer? I ran another scan, digging deeper this time, hoping something else might have survived. But everything else had been wiped too cleanly, like it had been scrubbed on purpose. Bree hadn't just reset it. She had erased every trace. I leaned back in my chair, trying to slow my breathing. I needed to figure this out. This wasn't carelessness. It wasn't a slip-up. Bree had intentionally deleted files that didn't even belong to me. She had used my laptop for something shady, something she didn't want anyone to trace back to her. And now I had to get to the bottom of it. The next morning, I woke up to find 3 missed calls from Bree. I hadn't replied to her at all since last night, and apparently she'd noticed. Her texts rolled in one after another. Bree, are you seriously still mad? It was just a reset. Get over it. Bree, Mom says you're acting insane. She wants to talk to you. Jesus, Naomi, Can you stop ignoring me? What's your problem? I stared at my screen, jaw clenched. I knew exactly what this was. Bree was flipping the script, trying to make me look like the unstable one. Classic move. She wanted to turn this around, make it seem like I was overreacting, like I was the problem. Typical Bree. I left her on read and headed straight to my parents' house. I hadn't planned on involving them this early, but I knew how fast Bree could twist a story. If I didn't get my side out first, they'd take her word for it, just like they always did. When Mom opened the door, her face already looked irritated. Naomi, really? She sighed, stepping aside. Bree told me what happened. You're blowing this way out of proportion. I gritted my teeth. She wiped my laptop, Mom. Not by accident, on purpose. And she won't even tell me why. Mom crossed her arms, her tone going straight into defense mode. She said she was trying to help. Thought it would make it run better. She's lying, I said flatly. Mom gave me that exhausted, worn-out look I'd seen 100 times. You always assume the worst about her. I actually let out a laugh. I couldn't help it. Mom, she's been using me since we were kids. I lend her things, she breaks them. I help her out, she disappears when it's my turn to need something. And now she nukes my hard drive and you still think she's the one trying to help? Mom shook her head. You need to let it go, Naomi. There it was again, that same deflection, the same excuses, the same gaslighting they always threw around to protect Bree. I took a slow, deep breath, trying to stay calm. Fine. You want me to let it go? Then have her tell me exactly what she was doing on my laptop. Mom hesitated. It doesn't matter. It does matter, I snapped, my voice sharp now. Because I ran a scan and found traces of financial files, stuff that wasn't even mine. Invoices, bank statements, payments. Her face froze for a second. Just a second. But I saw it. She knew something. She started, but caught herself. Bree told me you'd come up with some ridiculous theory. I took a step closer. What do you know, Mom? She clamped her lips shut. Nothing. Just, stop trying to turn this into some kind of scandal. And that's when it hit me. She wasn't just defending Bree, she was covering for her. I didn't say another word. I turned and stormed upstairs to Bree's room. She was lounging on her bed, glued to her phone. When she saw me, she didn't even sit up. Oh my God, Naomi. What now? I slammed the door shut. What were you doing on my laptop? I demanded. Bree rolled her eyes. Not this again. You deleted financial records. Why? She paused for a fraction of a second, but long enough for me to catch it. I didn't back down. You used my computer for something illegal, didn't you? Bree let out a sarcastic scoff. Wow, you're actually insane. Then prove me wrong, I shot back. Tell me exactly what you were working on. She stared at me for a long moment. Then she slowly set her phone down and gave me a smug little smirk. Fine. You want the truth. My stomach turned. Bree leaned back against the headboard like this was some kind of game to her. I was helping a friend out, she said. He needed to move some money around, and I needed a clean device. I felt the blood drain from my face. A clean device. She meant mine. I opened my mouth, but nothing came out. Bree's grin widened, like she was enjoying every second. Relax. It's nothing serious. Just a few business things. Some invoices. A couple quick deposits. No big deal. I stared at her in disbelief. You funneled financial transactions through my laptop? She shrugged. I needed a safe way to do it. I felt sick. What the hell did you do, Bree? She actually laughed. God, Naomi, you make it sound like I'm running some international crime ring. It's just a side hustle. It's not even illegal. Then why'd you wipe the laptop? I snapped. Why erase everything if it was all so harmless? Her smirk wobbled, just a bit. I stepped closer. You got caught, didn't you? Her eyes flicked away. And there it was. That was the truth. Bree had been involved in something sketchy. She panicked. She used my laptop as her way out. And when she realized it could blow back on her, she scrubbed it clean. My laptop wasn't just collateral damage. It had been her escape vehicle. And now I was stuck holding the bag. I stood there, heart pounding, looking at her like I didn't even know who she was anymore. She had used me, risked me, and she didn't feel an ounce of remorse. She looked up at me with a lazy smirk like the whole thing was some joke. "You need to chill," she said, stretching out like this was all a big nap. "It's not like I hacked the Pentagon." I clenched my fist. "Bree, you wiped out everything. Do you even understand how serious that is?" She rolled her eyes again. "God, you're so dramatic." "I told you, it was just a little business favor. Nothing major." My voice tightened. "Then tell me exactly what you did." She gave me a long, slow look, then scoffed. "Why do you even care?" she said. "The files are gone, right? It's not like you've got any proof left." And that was it. That's when it clicked. She wasn't just being dismissive. She was confident. She knew I wouldn't be able to recover anything solid. She'd covered her tracks, and she knew it. My mind was spinning. She'd used my laptop for shady money transfers. But why? Who was she doing this for? And what was so serious she had to nuke the entire system? I wasn't going to get any more answers from her. Not like this. I turned on my heel and walked out. "We're not finished," I said firmly. She just laughed, a dry, mocking kind of laugh. "Sure, whatever you say, Detective Naomi." I didn't even respond. I just turned around and slammed her door on the way out. The second I got back to my place, I started digging. If Brielle had been transferring money, there had to be some trace left behind. She might have wiped my hard drive, but she couldn't erase everything. I pulled up my email on my phone and started scrolling through old messages. And then my heart nearly stopped. There it was. A bank alert I didn't remember seeing before. I tapped it open and my stomach flipped. Confirmation, account transfer successful. The amount? $5,500. And it had been sent the day before I got the laptop back. My pulse started to race. $5,500 just gone. And the email listed an account number I'd never seen in my life. The sender wasn't me. Brielle had used my laptop to transfer money under someone else's name. Whose account was it? Where had that money gone? My hands trembled as I kept scrolling. Then I found another email. Deposit received, $3,200. There was a transaction ID attached. This one was incoming. Someone had deposited money into an account linked directly to my laptop. I immediately grabbed my phone and called my bank. "Hi, I think there's been fraudulent activity connected to my account," I said, struggling to keep my voice level. "I need to report an unauthorized transaction." The customer service rep started asking the usual questions, but deep down, I already knew what I'd hear. That account receiving the deposit? It was new, recently created, and tied directly to my laptop. Brielle hadn't just deleted my files, she had used my digital identity. And now I was the one in the firing line. My IP address, my device, my name on the email notifications. If anyone traced those transfers, they'd come looking for me. I needed to know more. If Brielle had gotten wrapped up in something shady, I had to uncover it before I got dragged any deeper. I thought back to what she said. I was helping a friend out. Brielle didn't have friends. Not real ones. She used people like tools. The only folks she surrounded herself with were the ones who could offer her something. I pulled up her social media. She was always careless online, oversharing like no one could possibly be watching. I scrolled through her latest posts, hunting for anything strange. That's when I saw it. A comment on one of her selfies from a user I didn't recognize. Money came through. We're all set. My stomach nodded. I tapped the profile. Private account. No full name. No clear photos. But the bio? One word. Investments. My chest tightened. Brielle had been moving money for someone else. I copied the username and searched it on Google. Nothing popped up. Not surprising. Scammers rarely leave a trail. So I started looking up phrases: investment scam, money flipping scheme, fake deposit. And that's when I found it. A news article from last year. Victims lose thousands in online investment scam. Authorities still investigating. My fingers were slick with sweat as I clicked into it. The scam was exactly what I feared. A phony business promising huge returns, tricking people into wiring their savings. The scammers would pass the money through multiple accounts to hide the trail, and by the time victims realized they'd been conned, the cash was long gone. I felt physically sick. Brielle wasn't just being careless. She was helping launder money, and she had done it through my laptop. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the glowing screen in disbelief. This wasn't just an inconvenience. It was a crime. And she had pulled me right into it. I needed hard proof. If she was involved in a scam, she was going to go down eventually. And if I didn't act fast, I'd be going down with her. I picked up my phone and called her. She answered on the third ring, sounding annoyed. What now? Who is he? I snapped. Who? The guy you've been working with. The one you transferred that money for. The one who sent you those deposits using my laptop. Who is he, Brielle? There was a beat of silence. Then she let out this breathy little laugh. You're seriously still on this, she said. God, you're pathetic. My stomach twisted. She wasn't even denying it. I clenched my phone tighter. You know I could go to the police, right? Another pause. Then her voice came through, quieter, colder. You won't. I hesitated. Brielle's tone was suddenly razor-sharp. You won't say a word because if you do, you'll go down with me. I sucked in a breath. She was right, and she knew it. The IP address, the transfers, the device metadata, every digital fingerprint pointed back to me. Brielle had set it up that way. And now, if I turned her in, I'd be the one holding the bag. I clenched my jaw. You really think I'm just going to let this slide? Brielle let out a final laugh. Face it, Naomi, she said. You're trapped. Then she hung up. I sat there, staring at my phone, my grip so tight my knuckles turned white. For years, I'd let Brielle get away with everything. But not this time. This time she had crossed a line. I didn't sleep that night. Her voice kept echoing in my head. You're trapped. And, for the first time, I actually felt it. I'd spent a lifetime dealing with Brielle's messes, covering for her, cleaning up after her, pretending it was fine. But this wasn't spilled coffee or a broken lamp. This was criminal. And she had used me like a pawn. The dim light of my laptop glowed in the dark room as I stared at the emails again. $4,500 out. $2,200 in. The rest? Gone. No trail. No explanation. Just cold, hard numbers that didn't add up. The scariest part? Brielle hadn't used her name. She'd used my device. If investigators followed the path, they wouldn't see her. They'd see me. I sat there, replaying worst-case scenarios over and over in my head. Could I go to the police? Could I prove I wasn't involved? But what evidence did I even have? Brielle had wiped almost everything. The only clues I had were those email confirmations, and even they could make me look complicit. Then a darker thought hit me. What if I wasn't the first? What if she'd done this before, used someone else's name, someone else's laptop, someone else's life? I had to know how deep this ran. The next morning, I called the bank again. I tried to play it cool, like I'd just noticed a couple of odd transactions. Hi, I was looking at my records, and I wanted to check on some activity from earlier this week, I said. I'm worried there might be some fraud involved. The rep hesitated. Ma'am, we can't disclose information about third-party accounts. I bit down on my frustration. Even if the transactions originated from my device? Silence. Well, if you believe something was done without your permission, you can file a formal fraud claim. My stomach churned. If I filed that fraud claim, it would kick off a full-blown investigation. And if investigators started poking around, it wouldn't take long for them to find Bree. And if they found Bree, it would lead straight back to me. For a brief second, it felt like I was standing on the edge of a cliff, staring down into something I couldn't see the bottom of. I had two options: walk away and pretend none of this happened, or keep digging and risk discovering just how deep the hole really went. And what Bree might do to cover it up. I thanked the rep and ended the call, my heart pounding in my chest. I needed another way to get answers, something that wouldn't risk dragging me down too. And I knew exactly where to start. Bree had always been careless. Reckless. If she scammed one person, chances were she had scammed others. And if there were more victims out there, maybe someone had already started connecting the dots. I went back to her social media and started combing through the comments. That same username, the one that had written "money came through. We're all set," was still there. But now, something new had popped up. Under a different photo, another user had commented, "Hey, where's my deposit? I sent you the money 2 weeks ago and now you're ghosting me." I clicked on his profile. This guy had a real name, not just some throwaway handle. His bio was basic, nothing flashy, but his posts? They were all about cash. Expensive watches, sports cars, stacks of bills. And then I saw it. A post from 3 days ago. "People these days will take your money and disappear. But I don't forget." I felt a chill run down my spine. This guy wasn't just frustrated. He was hunting her. I leaned back, mind racing. Bree didn't wipe my laptop just to cover her tracks. She was trying to disappear. She'd scammed the wrong person. And now she was dragging me right along with her. I needed to confront her. No, I needed leverage. I grabbed my keys and drove straight to my parents' house, fists clenched around the steering wheel the whole way there. If Bree wasn't going to come clean, I was going to force her to. I stormed through the front door without knocking. Mom was in the kitchen stirring something in a pot. She barely looked up. "Oh, Naomi," she muttered, not even surprised. "You here to start another fight?" I ignored her completely. "Where's Bree?" She sighed and gestured toward the backyard. "Probably out there on her phone, wasting time as usual." "Perfect." I slid open the glass door and spotted her sprawled on a lounge chair, phone in hand, sunglasses on, like she didn't have a care in the world. Like she wasn't in serious danger or putting others in it. I walked straight over and yanked the phone right out of her hands. "Hey, what the hell?" she snapped, sitting up. "Give that back." I held it just out of reach. "Who's the guy that's looking for you?" Her expression faltered. Just for a second, but it was enough. I tossed the phone onto the cushion beside her. I saw his comment. "He's pissed." "What did you do, Bree?" She let out a weak laugh, but there was no real humor in it. "Nothing. Just some guy who misunderstood something." I folded my arms. "Cut the crap. I saw the transfers before you wiped my laptop." "You think I wouldn't notice?" Her jaw tightened. "You're going to fix this," I said, my voice low. "Now." Bree rolled her eyes. "And how do you expect me to do that, exactly?" I took a deep breath, keeping my voice steady. "You're going to return the money. However you have to." That made her laugh. Actually laugh. "Oh sure, Naomi. Let me just conjure up a few grand out of nowhere." "Easy." I didn't flinch. "Figure it out." She groaned. "God, you're so..." I cut her off. "Or I'll tell Mom and Dad. Everything. The money laundering. The fake investment scam. How you used my laptop for all of it. And when that guy finds you," I added, stepping closer, "I'm not covering for you." For the first time, Bree's face turned pale. She looked away and swallowed hard. "You wouldn't." I didn't answer. I just stared her down. Let the silence say everything I didn't need to. Finally, she let out a shaky breath. Fine. It wasn't a victory. But it was something. I turned and walked back inside, my pulse still racing. Bree had finally realized this wasn't a game. No, this time, she was going to have to clean up her own mess. And I wasn't lifting a finger. I wish I could say that was the end of it, that she panicked, made things right, and everything settled down. But that's not what happened. Bree didn't fix anything. She ran. A week after I confronted her, she vanished. Blocked my number, stopped showing up at our parents' house, disappeared completely. At first, Mom and Dad acted like I was overreacting again. She's just laying low, they said. She always comes back. But even they started getting worried when her landlord called. Then her job called. And finally, so did the police. I still don't know the full extent of what Bree did. And maybe I never will. But I do know this, she had been scamming way more people than I ever imagined. And eventually, one of them had enough. Turns out Bree wasn't just running a fake investment scheme. She was laundering stolen money. How deep was she in? I don't know. But when they finally caught her, it wasn't because of me. It was because one of the victims traced it all back to her. And once the authorities started digging, Bree's name was everywhere. She'd been running funds through fake companies, fake invoices, phony deals, big money. Tens of thousands. Maybe more. She was arrested about 5 months after she vanished. I didn't go to the trial. I saw the news articles. I heard the updates from my parents. I even read through the court records once they were made public. For years. That's what she got. For years for financial fraud, wire fraud, and identity theft. And the worst part? She still owed every single dollar she stole. Even behind bars, she was drowning in debt. My parents were devastated. Mom still insisted it had to be a misunderstanding. Dad was just tired. And me? I was done. For the first time in my life, I didn't have to fix the mess. I let it go. I got back to my work. Moved to a new place. Built something better for myself. My life finally felt like it belonged to me. And then, 3 years later, Bree messaged me. I hadn't heard a word from her since the day she ghosted. But out of nowhere, I got a text. Hey, I get out next month. Can we talk? I stared at my phone for a long time. I wasn't even sure what I felt. Anger? Guilt? Relief? No. All I felt was exhausted. A few weeks later, she tried again. I've changed. I swear. I just want to talk. She called. I didn't answer. She emailed. I didn't respond. Here's the thing about Bree. She always had an angle. Maybe she was sorry. Maybe she just needed something from me again. But honestly, I don't care anymore. I haven't spoken to her since. Maybe she's different now. Maybe she's not. But for once in my life, I don't have to find out. And that's enough for me.